Alright, ladies and gentlemen. Court time. I'm very excited. This case is going directions. So let's just get right into it. There's that old familiar feeling again. The crushing pressure of this historic courthouse. Actually, no. It's a little different today. There's an even more menacing tension in the air. There is a menacing tension in the air today, isn't there? I suppose. Yes, I think so. It can only be the result of the menacing appearance of the defendant. A little more courtesy, if you please. Oh my, I do apologize. However, you're certainly not mistaken that this trial is far from ordinary. What do you mean? I'm not privy to the details. However, I understand that no jury has been selected. A trial without a jury? Well, that's just like the trial to Professor 10 years ago. A closed court. Good morning, my dear fellows. Mr. Sholmes. Have you made note of my hair, Mr. Naruhodo? An outright victory for science, you must agree. To be perfectly honest, so much happened yesterday that, well, I completely forgot about your little hair problem. Ha! What to one man is a little hair problem, is to another a day of drinking dubious potion after dubious potion. You have no idea how my stomach ails me this morning. Oh dear, how awful for you. I'm afraid you only have yourself to blame, Mr. Sholmes. And good morning to you, Mr. Reaper. I'm delighted to see you looking so full of vim. And hi, you. I see London celebrates a great detective is as active as ever. Oh, you exaggerate, my dear fellow. Compared to my poetry engagements of a few trivial cases. The Reaper's overbearing presence is a far greater deterrent to the black roots of crime in our capital. And whilst I may not agree with your methods, there is at least one point on which I would readily commend you. But in honor, and that would be your eye for a good lawyer, sir. Mr. Sholmes. After all, behind this lawyer there is a very great mind. My own. What are you trying to say? I wish only to say that you should be prepared for quite a trial, Mr. Reaper. Sorry to barge in. Gina! What's that on her arm? It's a mourning band, I suppose. Father! Shouldn't you be at the symposium? It's been postponed, so I have some free time. I decided to come along with the police inspector to see how country's up-and-coming student in action. I shall be very interested to see the fruits of your studies over the past year. Well, it's an honor to have you here. Let's hope there are some fruits to see. Hardo. Oh, yes, Gina? Why'd you agree to this, eh? Why'd you take him on? This Reaper bloke. Everyone says it was him what killed the boss. I'm sorry, Gina, but I just don't believe that. Oh, if it weren't him, who was it? I don't know that yet. I don't care who calls him what. The Reaper's just a name. He's just a person at the end of the day. And if it turns out it was him what killed the boss, then God help him. Fiery eyes indeed. Yes, the culprit deserves every ounce of your loathing. Eh? At least, there may be some solace to the deceased. Please, Otto. Get whoever did this. For the boss. Oh, Gina. I ain't feeling this useless. but there's nothing I can do. So you gotta find who done this and make the wretch pay. Counsel for the defense and the defendant. Court will be in session shortly. Make your way into the courtroom at once, please. Alright then. Here we go. It's time, Mr. Naruhodo. Lord Van Zeeks. One who lost his treasured brother to a mass murderer. One who lost his treasured father in a foreign court of law. And one who lost the man who helped her escape destitution. All that misfortune, all that pain, on course to collide headlong in this trial. It's time to shine a light on all these dark events. And whatever truth is revealed, we're going to have to look it straight in the eye. Is Holmes going to be joining us? This is a close court, so is there a gallery? I'm assuming no, right? But then would they let Mikotoba in? I guess it depends on how confidential this is. Yeah, it looks like there's no gallery. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. We are here to conduct the fair and just trial of the defendant, Barak Van Zeeks. Counsel for the defense and prosecution, are you ready to begin? The defense is ready, my lord. The prosecution is more than ready. Oh wait, I guess there is a gallery. Oh, Kazuma-sama. I've been wishing to see you in court again for so long, it feels. But I never pictured it happening like this. I never thought I'd be facing you behind the prosecution's bench. The Secretary Reaper of the Bailey has been a scourge like no other, undermining Her Majesty's justice system. Today we must uncover the truth behind this scourge. In other words, this trial is going to be a lot more far-reaching than Inspector Gregson's murder. The truth revealed by these proceedings may have unpredictable repercussions to the judiciary. Accordingly, they are to be conducted as a closed trial with no members of the public present. I have Majesty's direct orders. How would that work, my lord? The burden of all arbitration and education falls on my shoulders. Therefore, as you will see, the jury's bench shall remain vacant today. If no members of the public are present, might I ask who is currently occupying the gallery, my lord? There are members of the judiciary here to witness proceedings and ensure an equitable trial. I guess that answers that question. Members of the judiciary. Oh my, this is a very unusual trial already. There is, of course, another unprecedented aspect to these proceedings which must be elaborated. The counsels of the prosecution and defense are both aliens of Great Britain. I believe it takes an outsider to see the truth sometimes. And as I stand here in this courtroom now, I'm quite certain. This is the reason why I had to come to Britain. Kazuma? Very well. Let's commence proceedings. Prosecutor Sugi, your opening statement, if you please. So this is going to be like a classic Ace Attorney trial then, no jury. Certainly, my lord. The incident took place on 1st November at just after 5 o'clock in the afternoon. The location was a building of flats on Fresno Street on the outskirts of the city. The victim's body was discovered dead in an old single-room rental property. Yes, Inspector Tobias Gregson. Name known very well to this court. Not least for his miraculous resolution of one of this country's grimmest cases 10 years ago. The Professor case. How sure are you about the time of the incident? Several witnesses on the street outside heard the gunshot, and all have reported at the same time. Yes, that's what Gina told us too. There were a number of witnesses. I have here a plan of the room. The victim was found curled up in one corner. It's believed that he was shot from the front at point-blank range and died instantly. I have some easily determined. There were scorch marks around the entry wound. Such marks are caused by the gunpowder used to fire the bullet. But powder hot enough to leave scorch marks is only ejected a few inches beyond the end of the barrel. In other words, it only happens when the target is at point-blank range. I see, yes. I'll give you a detailed explanation, Counsel. Alright, let's take a look at that real quick. Maria Gori. Oh, the daughter? The daughter did it. Alright. Daughter did the autopsy. Why is time of death not filled in, though? That's odd. Intentionally left blank. Alright, yeah. I definitely noticed that's odd. So that means the time of death is going to be up for debate. It's not officially confirmed by the coroner. The murder weapon was found lying beside the victim. I have been very certain the owner of this firearm. No, my lord. Not conclusively. Bravo, Kazuma-sama, for not trying to use the gun as evidence when its provenance can be proven. Furthermore, my lord, as I've explained, the revolver was fired at extremely close range. The bullet passed through the victim and struck the wall behind him. There is a candelabrum mounted on the wall, and the tip of one of the candles in it was found to have been blown off by the projectile. We noticed that too, didn't we? Yes, that's right. Thank you for the thorough report, Counsel. The subject of the crime is clear to me. You will submit the plan of the crime scene as evidence, please. As you wish, my lord. Is this Fresno Street room Inspector Gress's private abode? No, my lord. The room is rented to a Mr. Hugh Bone. But there is precious little furniture inside, and it is generally in a poor state of repair. So what on earth was Gregson even doing there? Presumably he was investigating some case or other. But a policeman was informed of the gunshot from the witnesses and rushed to the scene. He found only the deceased inspector and the accused standing alongside, holding the revolver. The attending officer arrested the accused on the spot. So, the details of the case are clear. In that case, the prosecution would like to call its first witness. Name, please, Counsel. Naturally. The accused himself. Lord Van Zeeks! Also, Asogi just did the Edgeworth thinking pose. he's doing the Edgeworth. As a prosecutor, he believes in the oath of office he's taken and will be compelled to tell the truth. Very well. Let the defendant check the witness stand. Oh, I see. So, witness, state your name and occupation for the court. Baroque Van Zeeks, Old Bailey prosecutor. I presume, Lord Van Zeeks, that you heard the prosecutor Sugi's opening presses. I did. It is alleged you were found at the scene of the crime, and that you were arrested by the arriving police officer. Can you confirm this? Yes, my lord. Then I'm sure the court would like to hear you explain some things away. Namely, why you were there in the room on Fresno Street at the time in question, and what exactly took place. I intend to explain away nothing. I will simply tell the truth. I must say, Lord Van Zeeks, I never imagined this day would come. Or rather, I didn't want to imagine it would come. But since you became known as the Reaper, a part of me has been dreading it. Informal testimony then, witness. I was investigating Gregson, and my inquiries had led me to that address. When I first entered the room that day, It was dark inside, and I saw no one. A moment later, I heard the gunshot. I spun around and saw the revolver on the floor. Just as I picked the firearm up to examine it, the door flew open and I heard a man scream. It was only then that the body of Inspector Gregson appeared before me. That testimony was the whole truth. It was. So, you heard a shot being fired in a room with no living occupants, and moments later, a corpse somehow appeared before your eyes. Is that it? You're right, you haven't explained away anything. In fact, that would barely qualify as an excuse. Merry Christmas, Gun. Yeah. I thought you were my mute apprentice. Yet it turns out you have a way with words, Prosecutor Asogi. It appeared to be a singular tale indeed. Singular isn't the word. It's laughable. What's gotten into Kazuma? He's not behaving like himself at all. Very well then. Counsel, you may begin your cross-examination. Yes, my lord. So immediately my mind goes to, where did the crime actually take place? Cause if Varrock is telling the truth, and he was alone in that room, he hears the gunshot, and then the body appears. Could it have fallen through the ceiling somehow? That's where my brain immediately goes to. Of course, you still have to explain away the candlestick, but immediately my brain goes to, where was the crime scene? Yeah, where was the crime scene actually taking place? Oh yeah, we'll see.
Hold it!
You were investigating the inspector. What on earth for? I'm not at liberty to say. Sorry? I'd identified a distinct possibility that Gregson was involved in the case I was investigating. Regrettably, though, he was killed before I could secure the proof I needed. Secure to understand the question. You followed the victim to the scene? No. I was privy to his movements in advance. How? I stole into his office in the yard and consulted his diary. The address on Fresno Street was noted in the 5 p.m. entry. You illegally entered the man's office. In Japan, that alone would constitute a very serious offense. That's a good mission, I assure you. It's not the case, Lord Rinzix. I was aware of the possible consequences. So, in summary, you were investigating the victim. And yet, you refused to tell the court why. I didn't realize British prosecutors enjoyed such freedom to choose what to divulge under oath. Why did I ever think I could defend this man?
Hold it!
Had you ever been to the address before? No, never. I only learned of the place as a result of my investigations into Gregson's activities. There was no light in sight when I entered, so it was all but impossible to make out anything. The windows were boarded up, but not all the way. The top windows weren't boarded up. It was 5 p.m, so the sun should still be shining. Did he even go to the same room as where the crime scene took place? That seems like a contradiction, but I don't think I have any evidence directly relating to the state of the room. But that alone makes me a bit suspicious. Unless I'm like on the wrong track and it was just like super cloudy outside and it was a dark evening, I guess. But at 5 p.m, the sun would only have just gone down. It would still have been reasonably light outside. The room has a window, but it was boarded shut. Very little light found its way into the room from outside, so it was extremely murky inside. I wouldn't have noticed if the victim was already lying on the floor. Okay, fine. You know what? I buy it. But Simple enough explanation. I buy it. There was no artificial light in the room, you say? You're quite sure? I'm quite sure that the part of the room where the body was found was very dark. I have a feeling there was a small oil lamp burning on the desk, though I couldn't see for certain. There's no indication whether this was lit or not. So that's also up for debate. Look, Mr. Naruhodo. There is a small desk in the room just here. Yes, I remember. And there was an oil lamp on it, as well as the framed photograph. When I entered the room, I closed the door behind me and started towards the desk to investigate. And what did you find? Nothing. I never actually reached the desk.
Hold it!
So, who fired the gun? I have no idea. I didn't see anybody else in the room. But you say it was very dark in there? Yes, that's right. All I can tell you is, I didn't sense another's presence. Aha! Then could it be that the gunshot actually originated from somewhere outside the room? No, that's out of the question. Oh. Without doubt, the sound emanated from inside the room. I could smell the gunpowder. Well, there goes my theory. It's funny though that Ryunosuke technically had the same theory that I was. Was the crime scene actually that room? Okay, but no, if you smell gunpowder, then yeah, that's out of the question. Actually, no, that doesn't rule it out. That indicates that this is how you know Ace Attorney's gotten to me. That indicates that a gun was fired in the room, but was it the gun that killed Gregson? Now that's another question. Chat, am I right or am I right? This is going from bad to worse. And you say that's the point at which you noticed the revolver on the floor? Correct, and I foolishly picked it up. That was carelessness on my part. Now, possibilities ever considered but you're working very incomplete info. Yeah, I know. I'm just talking out loud. I'm just mostly talking about what Ace Attorney likes to do, you know? Obfuscate time of crime, obfuscate location of crime, obfuscate positions. So, you know, that's me doing a little bit of metagaming, but never mind that. You sure the guards on your head came from the fire, or you saw what hastily took into your hands? In point of fact, my lord, I believe it did not. What? The barrel of the revolver I picked up was cold, and there was no smell of spent powder. But then, where on earth is the gun that was fired? Well, I would like to oblige you with an answer. I'm afraid I can't. I, too, would dearly like to know that. So whose gun is that, then? That begs the question. Could it have been Gregson's gun? Wait, no, that doesn't make sense. Wait, what? Chat. Did they say that Gregson had his gun on him? I forget. They mentioned something about it in passing because the possibility was brought up that whether that was his gun, and they said no, that's not his gun. Like in the investigation phase yesterday, they said something about that. All right. Oh, keep going for now.
Hold it!
A man, you say? One of the witnesses, I presume. That's right. One of the street merchants working on Fresno Street. Who are these merchants? A number of them had set up their stalls directly beneath the boarded window of the crime scene. A match seller, a newsmonger, and a peddler. They've all given statements saying they heard the gunshot. And without thought of danger, they ran inside to see what had happened. Yes, Gina told us about that yesterday, didn't she? The burst through the door with some force, it would seem. They did, and almost gave me a heart attack in the process. But you're supposed to be the Reaper. The first man to come in immediately noticed the revolver in my hand and fled. A policeman patrolling on Fresno Street heard the commotion and was able to arrest the accused shortly after the incident occurred. Anyway, the man's scream drew my attention in that direction.
Hold it!
What do you mean by that? In what way did the body appear? I honestly can't explain it, but it's the truth. As far as I was concerned, the body hadn't been there until that point, and then suddenly, there it was. Did you perhaps hear the sound of the victim falling to the ground just beforehand? At that moment, what I heard was the sound of the door flying open, and the scream of the man who came inside first, nothing more. I see. After the man fled, I examined the body. I was stunned to find that it was Gregson. Most curious circumstances indeed. How the inspector was killed, or how his body seemed to appear out of nowhere. I have no idea.
Objection!
Surely the court has heard enough. My lord, the cross-examination has clearly revealed that the accused, Baroque Van Zieks, is lying on multiple fronts. What is that supposed to mean? Your gracious counsel. Whoa. His theme has become an objection theme. The defendant is lying. The defendant is lying, you say? In his testimony just now, he claims that he failed to notice the victim's body because the room was dark. That's correct. No, that's impossible. As proven by this candelabra. How does that prove anything? If you... Ooh, typo. If you examine the tip of the long candle, you can see it has been blown off by a powerful impact. What would it seem that the projectile of the firearm passed through the victim and struck the candle? The problem comes when you consider the other two candles, which are clearly of a different length. Yes, you can see that only the candle that appears to have been struck by the bullet is long. You could reasonably expect someone to have lit all three candles together, which begs the question of why only one has ended up longer than the others. That must be because that particular candle was extinguished when the others were still burning. Ah! That's right. When the candle was hit by the bullet, it obviously went out. But the other two candles would still have been burning. So the fact is, the victim's body would have been illuminated by the light still thrown by the candelabra. I don't know, that still seems like conjecture. Can you prove that the candles were lit at the time? I'm not sure that's exactly possible. The accuser's claim that he couldn't see the body clearly contradicts those facts. And now to the next line. There's more! The accused also claims never to have visited the scene of the crime before. Yeah, he's making a few inferences, but yeah, I mean it is conjecture. That's the truth. In that almost empty room, the police discovered something very unusual. A board covered from top to bottom in police documents and newspaper cuttings. Yes, that's right. We saw it too. It goes without saying that the contents of the police documents cannot be divulged. However, they included a number of reports on various historical cases, the oldest of which was from 10 years ago. 10 years ago? This is starting to sound familiar. There is a common thread linking all of the documents on that board. Indeed. What is this common thread, Counsel? They all relate to cases prosecuted in court by Baroque Van Zieks. All of them. And furthermore, all those cases are ones in which the defendant was acquitted. Good lord! Interestingly, none of those defendants are alive today, because all of them have been sent to their graves by the Reaper. Oh. That was the headquarters of this whatever machinations lie behind this thing. Oh, we're getting deep into it now. Gregson. Did you dig too deep? Was that why you were killed? Or were you part of it and wanted out? I think the latter is more likely because he wanted to flee the country. Maybe he wanted out. That's why he wanted to flee the country. Or he could have dug too deep, realized, and then was trying to flee the country. I guess either is likely right now. Ah! Oh no. Yeah, his name was on the Morse code message too. So he's either a target or privy to it. In short, that dingy little room is the Reaper's secret hideout, and his base of operations. The Reaper's hideout. And yet the Reaper would claim never to have been to his own secret hideout. No one will believe that. No, the truth is, we've been looking at this backwards. It's really cumbersome. Inspector Gregson was investigating the identity of the Reaper. When he discovered the location of the man's secret hideout, he was killed. As I'm sure everyone can imagine. By the Reaper's hand. He's doing a lot of, This is all conjecture. I don't think you can build a solid case on this right now. Kazuma, are you sure you're doing this right? Do you have the facts? Where is your evidence? Where is your proof? Also, now you're pointing like right. He's doing the right pose. Yeah, that is exactly the right pose. What? What? If Inosuke was the one saying this, would have been breakthrough the coast. Exactly! Order! Kazuma goes from defense in 1-1 to prosecution in 2-4 and immediately starts throwing conjecture around like he just don't care. Is that just how court works in this system? The prosecution is allowed to throw conjecture around, and the defense isn't. No, that's not true. Phoenix throws conjecture around all day, every day. He fills in the blanks later, but he does the conjecture thing. So maybe this is just Asogi doing what Wright would do, you know? Yeah, you know what? Fair. I can't complain about it. It's just funny when the prosecution does it and we can't see the thought process behind it, you know? He might be bluffing. He is the defense attorney. True. He is bluffing. We're just not seeing his thought process behind the bluff. True. Jesus is not sending prosecutor has rendered great service to his country. However, it is a deep regret that I must concur with Prosecutor's contention. The defendant's testimony exhibits a number of stark inconsistencies in the known facts. All I have done is state the truth as I know it. Kazuma's done a brilliant job as ever. He's drawing on his experience as a defense attorney to bullshit his prosecution case, and it's not actually that formidable if I actually had a chance to respond, but sure. Oh, sir. You submit to the board or you just showed you got as evidence. The belief is fundamental in establishing the facts surrounding the Reaper's existence. Thank you, my lord. Where's your evidence, Asogi? You can't just say that the man is lying without actual proof. You're just gonna move on to new witnesses where you objected and then you didn't present anything. Judge, I call for penalty on Kazuma Asogi. Take his badge so that he only has 4 badges. Mr. Electric, send him to the principal's office and have him expelled. Okay, let's take a look at this. Ha! Oh, what's this? Mr. Naruhodo, look! Oh yes, it's a smudge of some kind. In fact, it looks just like a handprint. And the color. That's blood, isn't it? Oh dear, how disturbing. somebody behind the board? Huh. There are details of a whole raft of cases dating back years on here, aren't there? This paper from 10 years ago is browning of age. Look. Out of interest, the most recent thing appears to be this newspaper cutting here. Oh, it's the same red-headed league advertisement that Mr. Sholmes had picked out. And do you remember? There was a red hairpiece at the scene too. Was Inspector Gregson an exponent of the red-headed league then? Surely Asogi would have seen this, right? Is he aware? Is he aware of this? Or has he not done his due diligence and looked over the evidence? I would be disappointed if that's the case because he seems like he's pretty competent, you know? He would probably have not overlooked that, I would like to think. I hope he hasn't. And now the prosecution would like to call new witnesses to the stand. Witnesses who saw events unfold on the day in question. You were mentioned in the previous testimony too, if you remember. Yes, the street sellers who heard the gunshot and went running into the room. The defendant will step down from the position. Certainly, my lord. Beppo? Did you get fired, Beppo? Did you get fired from the handsome company? So, witnesses, state your names and occupations for the court. What's wrong with your lips, sir? Names? We don't use names. Far too fancy for the likes of us. We're just free and easy. Sell what we like, live where we want to live. Give them our vacant stares, they walk down Fresno, and spin a few words to a verse for them. Ah. But I'll be right in the street with all three of you make a living by selling words on the street. Everyone calls me gossip. I sell jaunty little tidbits to passerbys, you know. Jaunty little tidbits? Got an absolute smasher for you, sir. Right up your chin with this. 6 is the price, and not a penny less. Wait, you're actually trying to sell it to me now? Oh, come on, sir. Don't tell me you're not interested. Try it, a man. Give him the money and see what it is. Hey, the vertical show. Alright, 6 it is. You won't regret it, sir. Now, got your listening ears on. Just between us, a young couple on Slate Street have just had twins. Is that it? No, that's not it. It's gossip, innit? It wants to spread. But that bit's up to you and your mouth, of course. I've got more, you know. Want another juicy one? 6 a piece it is, if you're curious. I am curious, yes, about what's going on just under that fat bottom lip of yours. Namely that unusual bruise or whatever it is poking out from under your collar. What about the next witness then? What name do you go by and what do you sell? Me? I'm Venus. That's what everyone calls me. Funny, ain't it? Oh, chat? Help, Matt and God is following me. A wanted criminal is following me. Help! Chat! Chat! Chat, can someone dial Phoenix, right? Someone call him. I'm in trouble. He's gonna talk to me about his chocolate milk. I'm scared. Thanks for the follow. I saw these lovely little fireworks to all the school kids. Looks like you're seeing a time traveler. True. You're about 100 years too early, sir. Are you the little match girl? Except you're a pyromaniac little match girl. Sure, why not? 6 a pop. Why'd you say? You weren't exaggerating with little. Did he actually sell? Oh yeah. The second years can't get enough of my Venus firecrackers. Especially when I tell them that if you get 100, they could blow up the school. Not the most savory of ideas, young lady. What you say then, eh? Want a part of this? Want a part with 6 pence for a pop? Wait, what? You want me to buy one? Tell you what, I'll let you in on a little secret. If you get 100 of them, you could blow up the whole courtroom. You're about 100. You're about 122 years too early for that. Shoutouts to Ted Tony. Actually, no, Ted Tony wasn't even the one who did that. Shoutouts to the Phantom. Bombing the courtroom. That comes a lot later. Try the woman. Give her the money and see if she's right. Blow us all up, Concho. Alright. I'll buy one. Lovely stuff. Right then. This is something a little bit extra just for you. The Venus special. Only 600 pence. It's 600! It's 100 of my regular fireworks. Nothing little about that, is there? And there'd be nothing little about the punishment if I blew up the Old Bailey either. Wait, it's evidence? Wait, she handed it over. Ah. Ah. Have you had an idea, Miss Naruhodo? You're staring at the end of the string of fireworks. Sorry, it's just that it's the Venus special. I was wondering what 600 pence worth of fireworks would sound like. Shall we find out? What? But she said it could blow up the courtroom. Alright. That was a fairly sizable bang. My ears are still ringing, Mr. Naruhodo. It sounded almost exactly like... That's why it's relevant evidence. I had a feeling. I was about to bring it up. Not the first time in this franchise that a firework has been mistaken for a gunshot. Not the first time. I guess we just set one off. Because we didn't blow up all the evidence. I guess we just set off one of them. Is the idea. And the last witness. What name do you go by and what do you sell? Tinker me. Think all sorts of thoughts. I think, therefore I am. I am, therefore I think. I think. Because I stand there on the street, watching the world go on around about me. They call me the Observator. Get out of it, old man. Everyone calls you Sandwich and you know it. So, you don't actually sell anything. A problem shared is a problem half, as they say. I give advice, I do, and think what it means. I don't actually sell anything, no, come to think of it. Pity. What does that sign say? No more purchases today, please. You've got a cash here, Jeeves. He conducted business on Fresno Street from morning until night, my lord. And always in the same place, directly adjacent to the crime scene. I see. And just they heard the gunshot, I suppose. Not only that, but they very briefly ran inside to see what was going on, and witnessed the crime. Well, I'll be back at that thought. Just between us. Venus de Milo, what am I to do? What a terrible thing I saw. What I think is, if all what we see is light and shadow, playing with our eyes, is any of it real? Man, Beppo's really fallen on hard times ever since the layoffs. Here, we're going to the full testimony of these three witnesses now. They'll describe in detail what the witnesses heard at the time of the incident. We saw the whole thing from start to finish, we did. Everything from the moment they went in the building. It was less than a minute after the Reaper had gone inside that we all heard a big bang. Seems to me that quick to talk is quick to walk. Gossip couldn't wait to go and see what had happened. I ran into the room and there he was, the Reaper, gun in hand, standing over the dead body. I was scared half to death, me, so I ran off to find a copper. If these witnesses were there the whole day and saw everything, who did they see going inside the building? Only the victim, Inspector Gregson, and the accused, Baroque Van Zieks. I've seen pictures of the Reaper in the paper. I know what he looks like. And just between us, folks love stories like this. I've made me up a tidy sum already. But wait, the room was just one of several flats in the building. Someone from another flat could have done it. All those flats on Fresno Street are unoccupied. Of course they are. They're small, damp, dirty, and expensive to boot. The room in which the inspector was found is the only property in the building that's currently leased. Whoa, really? That makes it even more suspicious, doesn't it? Who would rent out a single room in an entire abandoned apartment complex? Yeah, there's something fishy afoot here. And we know the leaseholder's name, don't we? It's Hugh Bone. The situation occurred is just here. We're ready to leave the room for dough. It's becoming increasingly difficult to see how anyone other than the defendant could have committed a crime. No. Thank you for your candor, my lord. Counsel for the defense, you may proceed to cross-examine the witnesses. Yes, my lord. In a closed court like this, without a jury, the judge is the only person whose opinion matters. I have to break down this testimony. Somehow. Alright.
Hold it!
When you say they, who do you mean exactly? Inspector Gregson and the defendant, Lord Van Zieks? I suppose so. The likes of us don't know the names of the high and mighty. But I'll tell you one thing. It was the old Reaper that went in last, that's for sure and certain. Just behind Inspector Gregson. Did he arrive at the same time as each other? No, not at all. The first fellow must have got inside a good 15 minutes before we heard that gunshot. The victim arrived 15 minutes before. Are you sure about that? Am I sure? Am I sure? Doesn't seem likely that I've forgotten a fellow with bright red hair like that, does it? Yeah, his hair was really red, wasn't it? Redder than my flaming fireworks even. That fiery red mop still burnt to the inside of my eyelids, it is. Wait a minute. You're saying the man was a redhead? Weren't you listening, chum? Aye, he was a redhead. And he had a big trunk of him as well. But Inspector Gregson's hair isn't red. Not by any stretch of the imagination. It seems likely that the person you saw wasn't in fact Inspector Gregson at all, but some other third party. No, I hate to break it to you, but the witnesses are correct. What? Just have a look at this photograph of the victim taken at the scene. Yes, that's Inspector Gregson, alright. Finally, we get a crime scene photo. And a red hairpiece. Ah! Of course! We saw one on the floor when we investigated the scene, didn't we? I still refuse to believe Inspector Gregson wore a hairpiece, though. So then why on earth would he have been wearing something like that? The color does indicate the man, one might say. The photograph was submitted as evidence, please, counsel. See, I feel like this is something that you should have presented at the start. Isn't the crime scene... Asogi, I realize you're a defense lawyer and you're not used to presenting evidence until you're asked. But the prosecution usually presents the crime scene photo alongside the map of the crime scene. You're not supposed to hold on to it until now, but whatever. Better late than never, I guess. Let's take a look. Anything suspicious? I'm ragging on Asogi a lot. maybe I shouldn't be. So the crime scene photo. In the crime scene photo, the wig is touching the blood. But the wig that's in our evidence isn't, like, doesn't have any blood on the tip of it. Am I overthinking it, or is that just like a detail that they didn't include? Chat. Okay, I'm allowing a small amount of backseating on this one. Am I overthinking the lack of blood on the hairpiece, or is that in fact a contradiction? Because I don't see any. I am overthinking it, or I am on the right track. You honestly forgot? Okay. Well, that's fine. If it comes up, it comes up. But if it doesn't come up, I can see that being a small detail that they just chose not to include because it's super minor. I don't know whether that would mean anything really. This hairpiece isn't the same hairpiece, maybe. This hairpiece was moved after the fact. I don't know. Doesn't seem very super important, I guess. Okay, question number 2. The illumination of this scene is such that light's coming from this side, but the candle should be up there on the wall, so he should be illuminated from the other side. But at the same time, the lighting might be different from when they actually take the crime scene photo, so I don't think that's actual evidence of anything one way or the other. So those are my immediate thoughts on looking at this. Other than that, yeah, I'm not seeing anything immediately obvious. It's not holding anything. Unless his hand is concealing something. I don't think I see anything else. Okay. Alright, back to the case. And what became of the trunk that the red-headed victim was supposedly carrying? I was informed that no trunk was found at the scene. So it just disappeared. What? Do you expect us to have been watching the building every second, do you? We definitely saw him in the dock going in, though. No question about that.
Hold it!
By which, presumably, you mean the gunshot. I sell these little things, don't I? How would I know what a gunshot sounds like? But I've always thought it probably sounds a bit like this. And you say that you heard the noise almost as soon as you saw the defendant enter the building. That's right. It was almost straight away. Bang, it went. Just like that. Well, he's a Reaper, isn't he? Is what the French call a fire. I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm not gonna try. When the Reaper's around, people are going in the ground. I mean, that's what he does, innit? I think we get the message. The Reaper couldn't allow the Inspector to live after he discovered his secret hideout. There can be no clearer motive for the crime. Yes. There's certainly an eminently credible motive. Great. And at that point, you ran inside. Is that correct? So, when Gossip went to see what had happened, did you go too? Well, me, I'm a bit hampered, see? All the signs are that I can't move very well. You were way behind, presumably, with that sandwich border on your neck and that big sign in your hand. What a great burden you bear. Pardon me for asking, Mr. Sandwich, but is it possible you and I have met before? I'm not anybody, me. The signs are what make me who I am now. I signed, therefore I am. Poor Beppo. So, you weren't employed as an omnibus driver just under a year ago, then? He's shaking even more now. I might be mistaken, but I believe his trembling has intensified, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, I agree. He's clearly been through a lot. Turn down, King Henry Street at the Black Widower's arms is just there. What does the sign say? Hang on. Hot. Hot. Actual... hero? Hot actual hero? I don't know what he's... I don't know what his bought. Yeah, I don't know what he's advertising. Oh dear, you've made him hide behind his sign. Life is full of surprises. Poor Beppo.
Hold it!
So then, you were the first person to arrive on the scene. Is that right? There I was. Kicked the door open like a professional, I did, and yelled out, "What's going on here?" Lord Van Zieks claims all he heard was a man scream, though. It wasn't dark inside the room. No, not dark at all. There were candles burning on the wall. Really? And there was a fella collapsed on the floor. Just between us, it's the first thing I noticed when I got inside. Ah, I see. Even though Lord Van Zieks claims not to have seen any such lights on the wall. Yeah, I genuinely have no idea how this is gonna be explained away. It's wrong. He was in the wrong room. Secret compartments. Rotating doors. Fanciful trapdoor techniques. I don't know. I legitimately don't know. This. But you know what? That's a sign of a good mystery that I can't figure it out immediately. The next thing I noticed was someone standing right beside the body. The accused, Barak Van Zieks. That's right, the pale-faced Reaper himself. I was a little shocked, I won't deny it. But I'm no livid coward. I stood my ground and gave the Reaper a cold, hard stare myself.
Excuse me!
I think he's embellishing. Do you have something to add, Mr. Sandwich? There's really nothing to me. Empty in the head I am. Just 2 slices with no middle. So I don't know what you could want with me. I think that maybe you just remembered something. Having heard Mr. Gossip's last statement, I mean. What I think is, we're all nothings really. We try to dress ourselves up as something goes, but at the end of the day, we're all the street sellers. That's enough out of you, Sandwich. Keep your trap shut now. Unless you want us to make into a real sandwich. When you saw the Reaper, it fell clean over on his backside. And that's it? Oh, you rotten beggar. I told you to keep that a secret. He screamed, he did. Screamed and scrambled off on all fours. That's all I wanted to say. Mr. Gossip, is this true? And the floor was dead slippery, that's why. Planted my hand in a filthy pool of blood, didn't I? Yuck. You touched it? Huh? Sir, you touched the blood? What? A pool of blood? But listen here, even I was sprawled on the floor, I still kept giving the Reaper a cold hard stare. And don't you forget it. You touched the blood? But he's dead. Gregson was dead here. They were in the door. At the door. I guess they busted in, right? They busted in. They saw it. But for him to have landed in the pool of blood... Okay, he said he screamed and ran off. That means he didn't even enter the room, I guess. Or maybe he did enter the room, saw these two, and then ran off. And then he touched the board. Because, okay, there is the other thing. There is this... So it could have been his handprint, I guess. If he touched the blood and then he touched the board on the way out, I guess that would explain this board. But that's really weird where the positions are then. Let's just go back a little. Did you say you got blood on your hand? I did. Happens to the best of us at times, doesn't it? So I was scared, so I slipped over. We can keep it just between us, can't we? No, Mr. Gossip. I'm going to have to ask you to add that information to your formal testimony. Oh, if I must. The registry of testimony is including the information details at once. Slipped over and got blood in my hands, so I quickly wiped it off on the floor. Wiped it off on the floor?
Hold it!
You wiped your hand on the floor? Well, who wants blood in his hand, eh? Horrible stuff. And he might have thought I'd done it. No ta. And you didn't think that might be a problem. Does it really matter if I left a few grubby handprints on the floor? They'll get cleaned up at the end, won't they? Don't make such a fuss. That's a message from all of us. Kazuma's reconsulting the evidence now. There's something wrong, Kazuma. No, my lord. I didn't remember anything in the report about a bloody handprint on the floor. That's all. Don't come at me of all that. You can't intimidate me. I know what I did. I wiped it off. On the floor. The blood. I wonder. Could that be what happened? It's an Naruto, though. I don't have all the answers yet. But I think we may have just uncovered a vital clue. Not on the floor, but on the board, I guess.
Objection!
So you wiped off the blood from your hand on the floor of the room. Are you quite sure about that? Well, what else could you expect me to have done, eh? Does it really matter?
Objection!
Police found no such handprint on the floor during their investigations. What exactly is the defense asserting?
Objection!
If you listen, you'll find out, Prosecutor Asogi. Certainly, there was no bloody handprint found on the floor. What are you trying to say? There was a handprint in blood left very clearly at the scene. On the back of this notice board. Oh, yes, indeed. Indisputably a handprint in the distinctive color of blood. Hey, you're dead right! That's my right hand! I'd know it anywhere.
Objection!
Hot actual hero. That is what it says. Wait, hang on. Chat, is the board... Is the board a Beautiful Joe reference? Is that what it is? Now that I think about it. Red hot cake! Maybe. It might be. The witness very definitely testified that he wiped his hand on the floor. Any handprints on the back of the board are irrelevant. Not if the board was on the floor.
Objection!
Not if the board itself had fallen over onto the floor. In that case, it's quite possible for the witness's handprint to have ended up there. Just look at the floor plan of the room. The notice board was in the opposite corner of the room to the victim, and in an upright position. Even if it had somehow been toppled and was lying on the floor at the time, it would have been a considerable distance from the body. I fell over when I came across the body, so I was basically right next to the corpse, not on the other side of the room. Okay, so he did go in. In other words, the defense's assertion is contradictory. Kazuma, the bloody handprint is right there. I think you're the one who has to explain the contradiction, not us, but whatever! Yes, it is. Yeah, exactly. There's a very definite contradiction here, for which there must be a reason. I think that you formulated a proper hypothesis, Counsel. Regarding this apparent discrepancy between the witness' account and the handprint found at the scene. I have, my lord. The discrepancy between the witness's account and the location of the handprint is explained by the board moving. The real contradiction here is the handprint itself, not where it was found. As the court can see, it's upside down. Good gracious, so it is. If the witness had put his hand against the board, the fingers should be pointing upwards. What does that tell us? It tells one simple fact. When this handprint was made, the board must have been lying on the floor as I previously suggested. Which means that after the incident, it must have been moved. What? So someone was around and about. You're claiming that somebody moved the notice board after the shooting. Then tell the court who. I don't know that yet, but the point is, when you consider all the testimony you've heard so far, it can now be very clear on one point. And it would be the position of the notice board at the time of the incident, my lord. I was asking to clarify the assertion for the court. At the time of the incident, where do you maintain the notice board was situated? It was over here, I think.
Take that!
This is the only possible location. Really adjacent to the doorway? If the court would think back to the testimony given by the defendant earlier, he said that when he entered the room, it was dark, and he couldn't see the body. Oh heck! If the notice board had been here, the body would have been completely hidden from view, and the light from the candles would have been blocked, making the room appear dark.
Objection!
But the accused also claimed that the victim's body simply appeared before. That's true. Or, in his precise words, just as I picked the firearm to examine it, the door flew open and I heard a man scream. It was only then that the body of Inspector Gregson appeared before me. So he knocked over the board. I don't know about calling it a scream, but he was talking about me and no mistake. Because it was me that kicked the door open. If you look again at the floor plan, consider what would happen if the door to the room was thrown open with force. Ah, that can't. Okay, so that explains the sudden light and the sudden view of the body. Okay. So he's been. But then we also have to explain the gunshot, I guess. He killed himself, maybe? I don't know. The door struck the notice board, knocking it over and making the victim's body visible. Oh, gracious. My client has told nothing but the truth. He has simply described what he saw. Order! Cursor! How has this not come to light before now? After the incident, somebody must have righted the board and moved it into the position where the police, myself, and my colleagues saw it when investigating the room. And Asogi overlooked it. He didn't do his due diligence. Witness, what do you have to say for yourself? What? Me, my lord. You and your fellows were there at the scene before anybody else. It goes without saying that you must know something about the position of the notice board. The witnesses in the stand will testify again. You will need to explain exactly what you did upon arriving at the scene of the crime. Stop looking over your glasses at me. I get the message. I don't know anything about that notice board. I just wiped my hand on it, that's all. But don't look at me. I ain't got a clue about it. I was doing business with some second years at the time. I don't know anything about anything. I'm just a bystander, me. Just a sign the crosses of life. It was that Reaper, I bet. He's got a face that screams bored. I couldn't see how this changes anything anyway. The detective said he died when we heard that gunshot. Another you can elaborate further. Shaken by the crime they witnessed, and with only the light of a few candles and an oil lamp by which to see. We can't expect these witnesses to be able to give a more precise account of what happened. That's right, yeah. It don't pay to expect too much. It's man's endless quest for knowledge that's destroying the world. That's what I think. Do you? Really? In any case, as this testimony shows, even if the notice board was moved by somebody following the incident, it makes no difference. When the gunshot rang out, the accused was the only person at the scene. In short, the only person who could possibly have committed this crime is Baroque Van Zieks. None of this wrangling over the board changes that simple fact. For sure. Most certainly, my lord. Very well. And you may proceed, Consul.
Hold it!
So you admit that it was the board you wiped your bloody hand on? Admit it? What's to admit? It's there plain as day for all to see. A smashing print of my right hand. Perhaps you wanted to hide that handprint. So you righted the notice board and pushed it into the corner, did you? No. Imagine the weight of that great lump. Do I look like a powerful and well-nurtured man? Well, did you see anybody else moving the board? I've got nerves of steel, I can tell you, but even I have my limits. There was a body on the floor in front of me, and the Grim Reaper himself standing over it. And there was precious little light inside either. My bottom lip was all a quiver. Wait, hang on. Chat, let me get this timeline straight. Baroque was about to walk to the desk. He couldn't see anything. These three bozos bust through the door. The notice board gets knocked over. The light is now visible and so is the body. Baroque turns around and sees it. And these guys see him holding the pistol already. Is that right? That doesn't sound quite right. No, wait, no. He saw the pistol. He walked over to the pistol. He picked it up. The door flung open. The board was knocked over. And then it turns out he was standing next to the corpse. Okay, never mind. No contradiction there, I think. In other words, this witness is unable to give definitive testimony on that point. Yes. So we were seen.
Hold it!
When you say you were doing business with them, you mean you were selling them fireworks? Yeah, what else? There's the Prairie School just round the corner, see? Those cheeky little souls and souls have got a plan to blow out the school to Kingdom Come. So I've been telling on them, letting the teachers know what they're up to. Oh, you have? Yeah, I wouldn't want anyone to get hurt, so I let the school know the kids are playing with dodgy toys. Then, praise the Lord, the teachers take all the fireworks off them. And then, praise the Lord again, the kids will come back to me to buy more. Everyone's happy, see? What a racket. Of course, it's sometimes the teachers give me a little bonus to thank me for letting them know. It's a busy old life, selling explosives. Here she's a girl, fool goddess indeed. Well, telling bare-faced lies is kind of my thing, really. I'm ever so good at it. Just chucked it.
Excuse me!
Something wrong, Mr. Sandwich. If I said it was, could we just leave it at that? Would that be the end of it? No. Did Miss Venus' statement just now bring something to mind, perhaps? Philosophical thoughts. Deep philosophical thoughts. Let's say there was a great liar. And that great liar said, without batting an eye, telling bare-faced lies is kind of my thing. I'm ever so good at it. Would those words of hers be a lie too? Or the truth? In which case, she's not a liar. Ooh, it's a hellish paradox, that one. Don't you think? Why are we bringing up Liar's paradox here? I'm not entirely sure, to be honest. But it seems to me you're suggesting Miss Venus has been lying. Are you? What are you on about, old man? Trying to cause trouble, are you? Keep on like that. And I'll wrap your whole body in firecrackers and set him off. That'll give you something to tremble about. You have a solidly disturbing mind behind the sweet innocent face, young lady. So, Miss Venus has lied in her testimony. Is that what you're saying, Mr. Sandwich? If it means I'll be burning in hellfire for the rest of my days, so be it. Yes, that's what I'm saying. Can you elaborate, please, sir? Oh, Blabbermouth here, headed for the room where the gunshot seemed to have come from. But there was someone else who crept up the stairs behind them, too. That's right. That rotten liar over there. Play. Do you mean to say that you did it for taking such a deceit crime after all? What did I tell you, eh? I said I was good at telling barefaced lies, didn't I? Yes, you mentioned it. Well, that revelation rocked the whole courtroom, didn't it? Who knew firecrackers packed such a punch? So you didn't visit the scene of the crime, did you, young lady? Good grief. Does anybody take perjury seriously? Nobody cares about under oath anymore. Well, now that you come to mention it, I suppose perhaps... I do clearly remember climbing the stairs to the room, yeah? Either you clearly remember it or you don't. I shall consider a fitting punishment for this perjurious act later. For the time being, you will merely amend your testimony to reflect the truth. Oh yes, my lord. Of course. But for what reason?
Hold it!
You make a habit of lying, do you, Miss Venus? Well, I suppose so. I don't really know, to be fair. If you want my advice, though, I'll take everything I say with a big pinch of salt. Alright, but you did in fact go to the room where the victim was killed on the day in question, didn't you? Oh please, as if I would. I can't think of anything more terrifying. The truth, please. Well, alright, just a bit then. I mean, a girl my age is curious about stuff, you know? Did you touch anything at the scene? Oh, please, as if I would. I mean, there was a dead body on the floor. The truth, please. Well, alright, just a little bit then. I had looked to see if there was anything I could sell. So I did give the place a one over, but there was nothing to write home about. Right. Now, I hesitate to ask, but... you didn't move the notice board by any chance, did you? Oh, please, as if I would touch anything like that. There's a few bits of loose change is all I had. The truth, please. Well, alright then. I thought there might be something worth having underneath it. So I blasted the flippin' thing. Sorry, flip the blasted thing. the sound effect was the firecrackers going off. You're telling us that you did move that board? I think that did slip out, didn't it? What? You daft bumpot! I don't believe it. The girl doesn't think. So, did you find anything then? Something that you might have taken, perhaps, to sell? Oh please, I should be so lucky. In my imagination, the truth now! I might have found this old pocket watch under the notice board, I suppose. But a bit of junk like this can be worth much, if you ask me. Ah! So it was you, was it? You're the one what took it! Gina! Yo, hey! Remember where you were! That watch. That watch there! That was a present to Inspector Gregson from the yard. For a big case he solved 10 years ago! The professor case, no doubt. The boss used to wind it up every evening without fail when he was waiting for his grub to come at the pub. I see. I swiped it off him once and blimey was he upset. Give me a right earful. Said he hadn't missed a day in the last 10 years, polishing it and winding it. It meant the world to him, that watch did. Possibly not the best thing to go diving for then. It's not all that, though. I took it to Jabez that night to ask how much it was worth, but the old dealer wouldn't touch it. Wouldn't give me a penny for it. Said it wasn't working. Knocked about and worthless, he called it. He winds it every day. I think we have the key to it. Ah, I knew I should have lifted it. That watch must be submitted as evidence at once. Oh, please, just so long as you promise to give it back when we're done. Not a chance. I'll stop you from here if you try to get your grubby mitts on it again. That's enough. Turn the watch to the really forthwith. Now, children, watch your manners. Good lord. The glass appears to be broken. More than likely, it shattered when the inspector was shot. It doesn't tick anymore either. Which is why Jabez didn't want it. What a waste, eh? Yes, indeed. It appears to have stopped at the hour of 5. Exactly when the gunshot was heard, then. Which supports the prosecution's claim, of course. There's a tiny little stub sticking out of the small hole here, look. I suppose there must have been a little knob or something on there for setting the time. In that case, seeing as we know the inspector took such care of his watch, it probably broke when the incident occurred, didn't it? Yes, of course. Which could mean that there's a small part of the watch still at the scene. Maybe. Interesting. And yeah, I think we have the key. There's a tiny little keyhole here. Can you see? Oh yes, that's probably for the winder used to wind up the mechanism. It looks a little unusual, don't you think? Yes, you need just the right key to wind it, I imagine. Why do I feel as though I've seen something? Something a bit like a key that's about the right size to fit in this hole. It would be wonderful if we had the key. Let's check carefully over what we've already found. So I guess we just go back here. Yeah, we gotta turn it again. Now we examine this thing. I guess that's what... Mr. Sato, do you think perhaps this key could be the key for Inspector Gregson's watch? Oh, yes, it could be. Let's try it at once. There's not a moment to lose. I knew it. A perfect fit. And look, the inspector's watch has started going again. Ah, so it has obviously just not been wound up, that's all. What is it, Mr. Sato? Well, if the watch isn't actually broken after all, I have a feeling it could have profound implications. She's deep in thought now. Perhaps I better start thinking deeply too. What does this mean? Oh well, I mean, the immediate application is that 5 o'clock is not necessarily a good indicator of the time of when he was shot. It could have just run out. it could have just run out at 5 p.m. at some other time, and he didn't wind it up. I guess that's the implication. It's not a reliable time of death. It's not a reliable time of death thing, and also it hasn't been wound up in a while. So those are the implications. It would appear that the mystery of the moving notice board is resolved at least. And as predicted, it had very little bearing on the case. Ugh. Now then, continue the cross-examination, please, Carson.
Hold it!
But you did go to see what had happened in the room, didn't you? Personal strange is my whole world, and so I know. And I know all of it. I have to make it my business to know if I want to hold my sign up high. So you did go to see what had happened. It's not the destination that's important. It's how you get there, isn't it? Did you notice board in the room? If you think about it, we're both the same species, aren't we? Both different members of the sign family. So if I'd spotted it, I might have tried to trip it up out of a sense of rivalry, I admit. Someone really needs to tell you that you're Homo sapiens, not Homo sapiens. Does that mean that you didn't notice the board? I can only repeat what I said before. I don't know anything about anything. I'm just a bystander, me. It's a sign of the crossroads of life. In which case, yes, who was responsible for moving the notice board? Well, I mean, you know. He's got a face that screams bored. What exactly do you mean by that? Oh, come on now, don't tell us you've not noticed. He looks like he hates everything in the world, that fella. But not notice boards, they're one thing he likes. You can see it in his eyes. I can't say I'd ever noticed. I'll tell you one thing for free, though. I never took my eyes off that man on the floor. Or off the Reaper. Not for a second. Sorry? Well, I was that scared I couldn't. You never know what a fiend like that might do if you look away, do you? If you didn't take your eyes off the defendant, you should be able to confirm categorically whether or not he was the one who moved the notice board. Aye, that I can. The Reaper did nothing of the sort. I can swear to that. I couldn't have missed it if he had heaved the thing upright again and dragged it into the corner. Right. Glad we've cleared that up. What happened to the face that screams bored? I feel your pain, Kazuma. And that terrible, terrible pun.
Hold it!
It was 5 o'clock in the afternoon that you all heard that loud bang, wasn't it? Maybe the notice board fell over, or maybe it didn't. Maybe I fell over, or maybe I didn't. But the Reaper's fate is sealed either way, because of the gunshot we all heard. So your fate's sealed too. My fate? That's right. The defense is fated to lose. The prosecution to win. In other words, it all hinges on that single gunshot. So if I could just find some problem with that part of your story, maybe possible to change all of our fates. Of course, none of that changes the fact that I heard what I heard, does it? Not much to go on. As you pointed out, Mr. Naruhodo, there's no question that the notice board was moved, so somebody must have done it. But it did happen after the event, so maybe Kazuma is right, and it's not relevant to the case. But it seems to have been deliberately positioned so as to hide the body from view. So I feel sure that there's some deeper significance to all of this. Yes, I know what you mean. I've no doubt that there are more clues to be uncovered. You're on the right track, I can feel it. So follow your instincts. Alright then. Well, we've established who it was, so... But this is the thing that's the problem. Okay. I could present the pocket watch here, because the indication is that he hasn't wound it up in a while. And he winds it up every single day. so it should still be ticking. It's not actually broken. So he's been dead for a while. I guess that's the implication.
Objection!
I'm afraid that's not necessarily the case. Oh. At the scene, we found this key to the winder of the inspector's pocket watch. A key. And having wound the pocket watch, we discovered that it in fact still works. You see, the watch didn't stop because it was broken at all. And that fact completely undermines one of the most fundamental premises on which this entire case has been built. What? Order! Order! Recaution! The watch was stopped at almost exactly 5 o'clock. Yeah, which is just when we heard that gunshot. It is exactly the hour. The time that was showing on the watch tells us nothing other than when it wound down. It's merely a coincidence that it happened to be at 5 o'clock.
Objection!
Even if that's true, the 3 witnesses here all heard the gunshot at 5 o'clock. So that's obviously where the crime was committed.
Objection!
No, that doesn't hold. Why not? Recall what Inspector Lestrade said only moments ago. The boss used to wind it up every evening without fail when he was waiting for his grub to come at the pub. Said he hadn't missed a day in the last 10 years, polishing it and winding it. It meant the world to him, that watch did. The victim was in the habit of winding his watch once a day, in the evening. We can reasonably assume, therefore, that he wound the timepiece on the evening before he died as well. Yes, that would be entirely reasonable. But if that's the case, you wouldn't expect the watch to have completely wound down by 5 o'clock the following day. Oh, hey. Well, how do you explain that? In summary, the evening before the day of the incident, when the gunshot rang out in that room, the inspector was already unable to wind his watch. You can't mean... What would stop a man winding his watch if he's been in the habit of winding it every single evening for 10 years? The obvious answer is that he was already dead. Order! Order! Counsel, this is the most extraordinary claim!
Objection!
Extraordinary isn't the word. It's absurd. You claim he was already dead the night before. Do you really think that Scotland Yard's coroner would have overlooked something like that? On that subject, there is something rather surprising. There's actually an omission in the coroner's report. The time of death is not noted. That's right. Wait a minute. You're forgetting that my legs went from under me when I kicked the door in. What do you mean? Like I said, I planted my hand in a dirty, great puddle of blood. Yes. So the victim's blood hadn't dried. It was fresh. He catches on fast, doesn't he?
Objection!
But that blood could be explained in any number of ways. It could have been put there afterwards. Some fresh blood could have been poured over the victim's body after
Objection!
Thus my learned friend thinks that fresh blood is available in every street corner. Well, it needn't necessarily have been human blood, of course. We've been told previously that Scotland Yard has no way to identify blood as human. So, Miss Haley research. At present, you are correct. It is beyond our abilities. So then, a chicken's blood could have been used, for example. It's certainly a possibility that it wasn't in the inspector's blood at all.
Objection!
But the gunshot was heard at 5 o'clock that afternoon. That's beyond question. It is it though? What? Given that the time of death of the victim has already been called into question, it isn't beyond the realms of possibility that what these witnesses heard wasn't a gunshot at all. Oh please, what are you trying to say? Us lot know what we heard. It was a loud bang that came from that there room. No, you listen to me. Street seller's years are his livelihood. I've brought out my old whip for the horse. I don't doubt your ears, sir, but all you can state with certainty is that you heard a noise. Eh? Explain yourself then, Counsel. A noise that sounds like a gunshot could have been made with a firecracker. Not necessarily this firecracker, but a firecracker.
Take that!
Something like this. The culprit could have set off one of these to fake a gunshot. Good gracious, the very fireworks are sober to witness. Now hold on a minute, I saying I did it. My pretty little firecrackers only make a little pop anyway. See? Not 100 of them together. The Venus special that you sell for 600 pennies sounds like this. As the court can now attest, it sounds very much like a gunshot, in fact. Ah! You're trying to suggest that somebody set one of those fireworks off at the scene? I'm suggesting that somebody knew the defendant was in the room at 5 that day and sought to implicate him by creating a sound like a gunshot for those peddlers on Fresno Street to hear.
Objection!
Yeah, and it's a firecracker so it can be remotely set off. I guess. But even the accused himself had testified that he saw no one else in the room at that time. Whether it was a gun or a firecracker, the only person present to cause that bang was Baroque Van Zeeks. One whiff of a match and my firecrackers go pop. See? That's why people like them. I fear for your fingers, young lady.
Objection!
Recently, during my time here in Britain, I've learned of a very useful invention indeed. Something called a time bomb. Good heavens, a bomb! Yes, a device that allows you to blow up whatever you like, whenever you like. Mr. Naruhodo, I worry that your unfortunate phrasing there may lead to yet another international incident. No, wait. It's the whenever you like part that's important. A time device. Yes, exactly. A time device. Something of that nature could have been planted at the scene. A device that was able to produce the sound of a gunshot long after the culprit had left. Your experiment claim will have to be sufficient to read this gunshot. Our proof you have to suggest in any way that the time device was employed to create a gunshot sound. Do we have evidence? Candle?
Take that!
As the court has already discussed, the tip of one of those candles in this candler room has been blown off. Ah. Because if he wasn't shot in that room, then how do you explain the candle? The candle blew up. The candle was blown up by the firework. Or was hidden inside the firework. I don't think that's possible, my lord. Not possible? Why? Because of the scorching. There are gunpowder scorch marks clearly visible on the broken candle. Oh, goodness, yes. Is it not the case? There was also scorching on the victim around the bullet entry wound. That's right, there was. But as we heard earlier, scorching like that only occurs when the target is at very close range, a matter of centimeters from the gun. Oh. Which means that the scorching of the candle can't possibly be the result of a gunshot. You're suggesting it came from the fireworks. How can that be, eh? The fact that there's such visible scorching on the candle suggests that the fireworks must have been right next to it when they exploded. Or to put it another way, the candle and firecrackers were joined together. The culprit somehow attached the firecrackers at a point partway down the candle. After the killer had left the scene, the candle slowly burnt down along with the other two, until eventually it ignited the fuse of the firecrackers, generating a loud and that is how these three witnesses came to believe they'd heard a gunshot at 5 o'clock. Well, what a plot. And this implies that the victim could have died earlier than we've been led to believe. The previous day, even. No, just hold your horses. Owen's lot here saw the victim going into the building, remember? I couldn't forget the flame-colored hair, even if I wanted to. The person you saw entering the building wasn't the victim at all. Consider this. Obviously, anyone can wear a wig. So the person that these witnesses saw entering the building 15 minutes before the incident occurred could easily have been someone else entirely, wearing the red hairpiece. Someone else? You mean to say? It was the same person who contrived the firecracker trick. In other words, Inspector Grex's killer. Oh, very impressive, Ryunosuke. Naruhodo. But, Kazuma? I'm really quite amazed you've come this far. But after all, wasn't I the one who told you that you had all the makings of a great defense lawyer? I also noted the lack of a time death in this report, a stark omission. But as far as I'm concerned, this whole country's justice system leaves a lot to be desired. Order! Prosecutor Shogi! What on earth do you mean by that statement? I hear that many of the leading members of Britain's judiciary are present to observe this trial today. So we cannot allow even the slightest doubt to be overlooked. The defense's assertion about the time of death based on the victim's stopwatch is just conjecture. But, while the possibility exists that my learned friend may be correct, we have a duty to explore it. Certainly. I would agree with you. And what immediately comes to mind is, of course, what was Inspector Gregson doing, and where did he go on the day before the incident? Do you know? The inspector always carried out his investigative work alone. His movements are treated as confidential within Scotland Yard. Even within the Yard? However, considering the evidence we've been presented with so far, I'd say it's fairly apparent what case the man was pursuing. Wouldn't you, my learned friend? I do have a feeling about what case he might have been investigating. Yes, I agree. Surely. My lord, the defense believes it can explain to the court the case that was being investigated by Inspector Gregson at the time of his death. Counsel, present your argument to the court. What evidence is suggestive of the case being investigated by the inspector on the day prior to the incident? The Red-Headed League!
Take that!
I believe this red hairpiece points to the answer. We might assume it was part of a disguise used to carry out an undercover investigation. Surely not. Such a red colored hairpiece would only serve to make the inspector more noticeable. Yes, that's quite true. It would definitely have made him stand out in a crowd. Except, that is, in a crowd of gentlemen from the Red-Headed League. The Red-Headed League? So, you'd already worked it out. What on earth is all this about? Is there such an extraordinary league of gentlemen? That's a reference, chat. The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. The Red-Headed League is currently under investigation for a grand deception. A deception of what nature, Counsel? They've been targeting red-headed men across all of London and tricking them out of small sums of money. 2 men were arrested for the misdemeanor only yesterday, in fact. My lord, the defense calls for those 2 men to be summoned at once. The 2 redheads? Inspector Gregson clearly infiltrated the Red-Headed League using this hairpiece, so it's very likely that he had direct contact with these criminals. And it's quite possible that such contact led to more serious events. I concur. There cannot be good causes leave this new avenue unexplored. Well done, Mr. Naruhodo. Well, it's not a possible line of inquiry for us, at least. The prosecution will make immediate arrangements for the charged men to appear. Bring these 2 red-headed league conspirators before me, Prosecutor Sugi. At once, my lord. Very good. We will have a 30-minute recess. Court is adjourned. Oh boy. And that's how we're tying the Red-Headed League back into this story. It's getting juicy, alright. Very juicy indeed. Whew. Wow, great start to this trial, chat. I'm enjoying myself. Hope you guys have been enjoying it too. Whew. Legitimately don't know where this is going, but we're just along for the ride at this point, so yeah. Join us soon enough for more Twisted Karma in his last bow. Same place. May not be same time. We'll figure out when will be a good time to stream. But yeah. Very exciting stuff. Alright, I'll catch you guys around soon. Peace.